What is up, math superstars? In this edition of Mr. Peterson Presents, I'm bringing to you subtracting fractions and mixed numbers. And so here we're given this example. We have 6 1/2 minus 2 1/3. And so here I always give you some simple steps that you could follow that will make your life easier in subtracting mixed numbers. And so step number 1 here, we're going to go ahead and rename. So I'm just going to highlight some key things. We're going to rename the fractions to include a common denominator. So a common denominator of 2 and 3 is 6. So let's go ahead and rename these fractions here. So I have 6 and 3/6 minus 2 and 2/6. So we got step number 1 down. You can always check that off. And in step number 2, we're going to go ahead and subtract our fractions here. So when we go ahead and subtract our fractions, we have 3/6 minus 2/6. So 3 minus 2 gives us 1, and our denominator stays the same as 6. And then we need this, so for step 2, we can put check there. Step 3, we're going to subtract the whole numbers. So 6 minus 2 is 4. And last but not least, we need to make sure we simplify if necessary. And so everything is simplified. So our final answer is 6 1/2 minus 2 1/3. When we subtract those, we get 4 1/6. So here is example number 2. We're going to go ahead and follow the steps, just like we did in example 1, but we're going to show you something unique with this problem. So our very first step is we're going to rename the fractions to include a common denominator. So our common denominator of 2 and 4 is 4. So let's go ahead and rename these fractions. 6 2/4 minus 2 3/4. So in step number 2, it says subtract the fractions. So 2 minus 3 actually gives us a negative number. So in this case, what we're going to do, there's a little part here in your notes. So it says if you cannot subtract the fractions, you will need to rename the whole number as well. The way this works is we're going to borrow from the whole. And so we'll take our first fraction, 6 2/4. Let's go ahead and borrow a whole from there. So the 6 becomes a 5. And then what you do is we have to add 4/4 plus 2/4. When we do that, we have 5 6/4 minus 2 3/4. And so here, this step right here is renaming our fraction. And last but not least, we're going to go ahead and subtract our fractions now. So 6/4 minus 3/4, it gives us 3/4. And 5 minus 2, when we subtract our whole numbers, gives us 3. And so when we go ahead and subtract now 2 1/2 minus 6 1/2 minus 2 3/4, our answer is 3 3/4.